Raider Nation, what's the deal, man? Once again, it's the guy PanamaFargo back to y'all live with another episode of the Raider Rundown. Make sure y'all keep tapping on that like and subscribe button, man. And make sure y'all sharing out the content, because you know I'm going to keep you updated with all that Raider news, man. But today, since it's a little slow going on, man, we ain't got no team news, I thought we could talk about some future shit, right? And what I want to get into today is the players that we should watch or have an eye on, a very close eye on, as far as training camp goes, right? Training camp is right around the corner. So we might as well talk about who we should keep a close eye on, man. So without further ado, let's get into it. So look, man, I think the first player that I think all of us should really focus on, right? And I think that, you know, there would be no objection when I say this, would be Trayvon Mullen, okay? That is the first player that I feel like we should really keep our eye on, man. He's going into his third year, right? So we're expecting some growth, okay? From coming from TCU when he got drafted, a majority of Raider Nation, including myself, all right, thought this guy was a nice, versatile ball hawking safety. Now, granted, when he got drafted, he was into that Gus Bradley system, right? Now, coming from that, it's at least, you know, a couple more. It's at least another D coordinator that he's had to work with, so he hasn't had no stability since he got into the league, right? Now, coming into the third year, second year in the Patrick Graham system, now can we expect a leap, right? And if he makes that leap, it tremendously helps the defense and whatever we got going on, man. It could dramatically changes the outlook of the Raiders secondary and the defense as a whole, right? We need to start getting our hands on football. We need to start getting more turnovers, man. And it should start with him, okay? It should really start with Trayvon Mullen leading the way, getting his hands on the football, really making opponents scared to throw the ball deep, man, because he's back there lurking, back there, you know what I mean, playing that, you know, safety in the middle of the field that we need him to be. So at the end of the day, that's one player that I feel like we really need to keep a close eye on, man. Second player we need to keep a close eye on, I'm going to go on the offensive side of the ball, and I'm going to say it's Zamir White. Why do I say it's Zamir White? Now, obviously, we know we got something going on with the running back position with Josh Jacobs, all right? He's not signed. They're working on a contract, but as of right now, he's not signed. Why do we need to look at Zamir? It's a pretty easy thing to see that we need to know if he's got some juice. We need to know if he's got some dog in him, if he can be a starting caliber running back, just in case this Josh Jacobs thing prolongs, right? If it prolongs, Zamir's going to get a tremendous amount of work, all right? Let's just put it like that. The Raiders drafted that man with a plan in mind, and the plan will come to fruition if Josh is somehow not on the field. Zamir's about to get that workload. Can he handle that workload? How does he look with an offseason under his belt and a season under his belt, right? And we need to know what type of ability, what type of agility, what type of explosiveness he has, right? Now, nobody's going to be Josh Jacobs. We're not asking him to be that. But we need somebody in the backfield that's going to get you 1,000 yards within this season, because it's needed. All right, it's needed. You need 1,000-yard back in this offense, especially with the quarterbacks we have under center right now. You need 1,000-yard back. Can Zamir be there? That's going to be the question, right? So we're going to see with that. Next person that we are going to take a very close look on, and I feel like Raider Nation needs to see if this guy has something good coming out the gate, right? And that would be Byron Young, all right? Rookie D lineman from Alabama. We got to keep a close eye on this guy, okay? And because he will be the key to this Raiders defensive line. I'm going to say this again. Byron Young is going to be the key of this Raiders defensive line, bro. If he's a monster, or at least just disruptive, okay? If he's disruptive in that backfield, it's going to dramatically change the pressure that the Raiders are getting, and creating. Because right now, we have some talent on the outside. We have major talent on the outside with Max Crosby, with Chandler Jones, right, and with the guys you can rotate in. But at the end of the day, and most of us have been saying this for a long time, the Raiders have not addressed their interior push, and that's where the problem lies, okay? Because as good as Max and Chandler is, you can kind of create a plan for edge rushers, bro. You can. Okay, you can kind of create a plan for edge rushers, and the good quarterbacks with good pocket mobility, with good pocket presence, are really going to step up in a created lane when the rushers are rushing out and they can't really get into him like that. Now, if you have an interior D lineman pushing the pocket forward, it now does not allow the Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herberts to step up into the fucking pocket, right? And just pat the ball until somebody comes open. Now, they're going to have to worry about pressure coming into their face with Max and Chandler conversion. You feel what I'm saying? And that's what needs to happen. That's what the Raiders haven't had in a long, long time. So at the end of the day, man, this is something that we need to keep a very close eye on the rookie, because, you know, from seeing everything we've seen, how the Raiders have talked about Byron Young, how the insiders, everybody has talked about the pick of Byron Young, the Raiders are going to use this rookie heavily. Okay, they're going to use him heavily going into this next season. And we're going to see what he has right out the gate, right? Him and Tyree Wilson. Now, Tyree Wilson is an honorable mention in this here thing. But at the end of the day, when you pick somebody 7 overall, you expect them to come in. And I'm not saying I expect this man to have 10 plus sacks for a season. I don't expect that, because at the end of the day, he still has some pass rush moves that he needs to develop and he needs to get right. But at the end of the day, I think that he's going to come in here and just give you some juice, man. I think he's going to instantly have an impact in the running game. For sure, he's going to instantly have an impact in the way the Raiders D-line does in the running game. And in the pass game, man, we'll see, man. With him being on the field, with the potential of him, Chandler, and Max being on the field at the same time, man, he's going to have his one-on-one opportunities. So we're going to see out the gate, just like Byron Young. We're going to see out the gate what they can do with their one-on-one opportunities. And at the end of the day, let's see if that's something that they can take advantage of. Last but not least, man, or actually, one more. We got 2 more going on. But at the end of the day, man, the next one I want to talk about is quarterback Aiden O'Connor. Okay, we got to watch him during training camp. And of course, this is an obvious one. All right, we need to see what type of juice this guy has when the pads are on and the real bullets are flying. All right, because at the end of the day, man, the Raiders drafted this guy, and it's pretty apparent that they like his skill set, the way they raved about him, the way Josh McDaniels has talked about him. They love this kid. So at the end of the day, man, we have to see what he has, okay? We have to see if this guy can really process in the NFL speed, in the NFL scheme, all right? And we got to see what he can do when the pads come on and defenses are really scheming and coming after him, all right? If he can hold up, all right, especially going into preseason, and he can hold up and he starts looking good against other competition, we have something very, very interesting on our hands. I still believe that this guy has a very unique skill set. I'm not mad at the pick. I actually liked it coming out. It was all right. You know what I mean? And especially within the right system. He's a perfect fit for what Josh McDaniels wants to do. Now let's see if he can go on the field and execute, right? And last but not least, last player I want to talk about that we got to keep a very, very close eye on when training camp rolls around is wide receiver Trey Tucker, okay? Rookie Trey Tucker. Why do I say wide receiver rookie Trey Tucker? I believe that if he carves himself a role, all right, which I believe he has an uphill climb in training camp to really be a consistent part of the offense, all right? Right now, as it stands on today, I feel like he has an uphill climb, you know, to be a consistent part of offense. But you never know. When training camp comes around, what if he goes out there and what if he really performs on an offensive side of the ball? Now, I know he's going to come out here and they drafted him for immediate special teams production. Okay, that's what they drafted him for sure, was immediate special teams production. But on the offensive side of the ball, he can be a very sneaky player. He has the toughness to go over the middle. He is a Julian Edelman type like game, I will say, right? He has that type of game. And when you're looking at that, man, I feel like, you know, Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler love the way this guy, you know, exudes toughness at the end of the day. And can he carve out a role within this offense being a slot receiver? You still have Hunter Renfrow. You still have, you know, Philip Dorsett. And you have DeAndre Carter under contract. So at the end of the day, you have all these guys that he's got to battle to even get consistent minutes. But I'm going to keep my eye on him, man, because I want to see what he does in live competition on the offensive side of the ball. I want to see what type of skill that he's going to bring when the real pads are on and everybody gets to move, right? So at the end of the day, those are the players that I feel like the Raiders are gonna keep an eye on. I feel like part one, okay, and I'm gonna do a part two, you know, on in the next coming days because the news is slow. And I just want to give something for y'all to vibe to, you know what I mean? So I can talk to y'all can talk to me, man. But at the end of the day, y'all let me know who are the players that y'all want to look at during training camp, man. Who do you want to take a closer look at? And at the end of the day, what do you think about the list that I just said about the players that I do want to take a closer look to? Remember, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button, man. Make sure you share out the content. And remember, I always keep it authentic from the clouds to the ground on the Raider Rundown.
Look. Hold it down for my G's, still I'm seeing greed. A lot of niggas in these streets who don't get no reprieve. So what you want is you gon' bleed to keep your niggas free? Oh, it's facade until you ball and you stacking cheese.